Minutes to 8. Now, Israel's war on Hamas has sparked suspected hate preaching in some of Britain's mosques. A Talk TV investigation today reveals footage of preachers in several mosques calling for Jews to be killed and Israel to be destroyed.
Now, we have handed the dossier of evidence to police, and officers from three forces are now actively investigating. Holly Hudson has this exclusive report, which comes with a warning that some viewers may find its content offensive.
A sermon at the Redbridge Islamic Centre in Ilford. The speaker prays with his congregation in Arabic to curse the Jews and the children of Israel. Talk TV had the recording translated twice independently. It's voiced by an actor.
O Allah, curse the Jews and the children of Israel. O Allah, curse the infidels and the polytheists. O Allah, break their words, shake their feet, disperse and tear apart their unity, and ruin their houses and destroy their homes.
And from London to Liverpool.
If the 2 billion just marched on Israel, it's all over. These spat in the direction of Israel, 2 billion, it's all over.
To Birmingham.
The stones will speak and say, "Oh Muslim, behind me there is a Yahudi, come and kill him."
Preachers at mosques across Britain have been filmed calling for victory for Hamas.
O God, heal our hearts regarding the usurping Jews and in every enemy of you and the Muslims. O God, limit their number, kill them indiscriminately, and do not leave any of them alive. O God, our Lord, disperse them, weaken their strength, shake the ground beneath their feet, and freeze the blood in their veins. Make them captive to the Muslims.
And stoking hatred against Jews and Israel with alarming anti-Semitic rhetoric.
O Revenger, revenge from the oppressive aggressor occupying Zionists. O Allah, shake the earth beneath them. O Allah, limit their number, kill them indiscriminately, and do not leave any of them alive.
Rhetoric that in some cases is as violent as that of Abu Hamza, the known hate preacher who delivered sermons at Finsbury Park Mosque before it was shut down and who was deported from the UK. In Greenwich, this speaker ended his prayers with calls for Allah to grant victory over the enemy. The Met said while it understands the footage raised concern in Greenwich, no offences had been committed there. Jewish groups, though, say that police aren't doing enough and are calling for prosecutions in some cases, warning that some of these sermons could lead not only to hate crime, but extremism and even terror.
There is no difference between the rhetoric in the Hamas Charter and the rhetoric that is on display in these videos. They are utterly hateful, they are violent, and they are a threat to both Jews and non-Jews in this country. There is a real risk of more than just one person being encouraged by this rhetoric to go out and take action on the streets. And we've seen how bad that can be in the past.
Talk TV has confirmed that police are assessing video evidence from 4 of the 7 mosques we've highlighted. The Charities Commission is also examining some of the footage, as the majority are also linked to registered charities, meaning they receive taxpayers' money. In a statement, they said, "We are aware of a significant number of serious concerns, which largely concern allegations of anti-Semitic or hate speech. We're assessing them, and if there has been any wrongdoing, we'll take action." Talk TV reached out to all of the mosques and figures featured in this report. Redbridge Islamic Centre declined to comment directly to us, but previously said it launched an immediate investigation and decided that the Imam will not be allowed to address worshippers again until it's concluded. No other mosques responded.
Well, joining us now is London-based Imam Ajmal Masroor. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Ajmal. Can you just tell us what you make of the footage that you've just seen there?
Any hate speech spoken by anybody or preached by anybody is totally condemned, of course. Unfortunately, we're living at a very hateful time. The rhetoric coming out of the Israeli ministers, Israeli rabbis, is equally hateful. In fact, I have seen tweets as recent as yesterday that's calling for the foreskin of the private parts of the Palestinian men that have been killed to be gathered and put in a grave, fill up the graves of Palestinians, fill up the tunnels with Palestinian bodies. Even the Prime Minister Netanyahu is calling for a total annihilation of the Palestinian people, referring to a biblical story that they are constantly repeating and regurgitating. Unfortunately, all of them, including some of the footage that you have shown, are hate-filled footage and not to be tolerated anywhere, locally and globally. The Palestinian crisis is not going to be filled or solved by hate preaching or bombardment or killing of children. And in this case, 15,000 Palestinians who've been killed, majority of over 60% have been children and women. So at the end of this awful plight will be only by negotiation, by peaceful conversation, by civilized behavior, by international communities putting pressure on both sides to stop this awful fight that they've been doing. And it didn't start on the 7th of October, by the way. It's been going on for 75 years. People who've been, their houses have been taken, occupied, illegal settlements have been built. Even in West Bank, when there is no Hamas, people are being killed. More than 200 people have been killed. So I condemn all of these barbarity, this brutality, and I call for cessation of hostilities now, end of rhetoric right now, end of all hate preaching right now.
Ajmal, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on. Very important for Nick and I to get both sides and for you to have your point. I want to talk, I understand where you're coming from, but we're talking about something that an investigation has picked up in the United Kingdom. We know, do we not, that violent rhetoric like this, the killers of Lee Rigby, that soldier in 2018 was directly related. He admitted he was incited to do it because of Islamic hate preacher Chowdhury, who was deported and that mosque was closed down. We made a point in the opening which is very relevant. This isn't across all mosques, this is in some mosques. But you would understand people's abhorrence when you hear somebody speaking like that. And I, for one, am delighted that the first thing out of your mouth was that you said that that sort of hate speech has no place in a civilised society. I think that's absolutely right. We are simply, Nick and I, responding to a report that has taken place within, I think it's 5 mosques. The police, for example, certainly in terms of that Redbridge mosque, have said they are investigating. What would you assume will happen if they come back and believe that that sort of hate speech is unacceptable, Ajmal?
I think it's important to put it in perspective. There are over 2,500 mosques in the UK today. And so vast majority of them have a very powerful role to play in our communities. For example, the one I run in Southgate, we provide food bank every Monday, and 97% of our guests, we call them, are non-Muslim neighbors of all faith and no faith. We don't discriminate. Our mosque is open to everybody. And I believe this is the case for vast majority of the mosques of our country. I'm talking about 2,500. The 5 or 6 mosques that you have highlighted, if they're being investigated by the Police and Charity Commission right now, it would be wrong of me to make any comments because I'm an Imam, I'm a public figure, and I run a mosque, and it will incriminate anybody without due evidence or process. So I'll leave the Police and Charity Commission to do their investigation, and whatever they come across, if they find anybody guilty of hate crime, whatever the law prescribes, that's going to happen, and we'll of course support it. But most importantly, and I want to make this again to everybody, Muslims, Jews, and Christians, especially Muslims in the Jewish communities in the UK, we are brothers in faith. We come from the same family called the family of Abraham. Our future isn't on hostility and vile rhetoric or hate preaching, whether it is done in the UK or done in Israel. And most importantly, the future of Israel, its peace and stability isn't dependent on how often it bombs, occupies, and steals Palestinian land. It's not. It's not going to provide Palestinian security. It's not going to provide Israel security. The only way forward, my friends, is by us talking together, by sharing this one earth that we have. God and his prophets, Moses and Muhammad, would have done exactly that. They would not have spoken against each other in a vile way.
A very important message of peace. Thank you ever so much, Imam Ajmal Masroor. Thank you for joining us this morning.